want to talk to you a bit about feminism right now. There's been a trend going around with feminism saying that of all the refugees coming into Europe, they should ban all the men from coming into the country, that they should only take in women and children. Now, aside from this being very obnoxious, it's very much in line with what white nationalists want. There's a lot of white nationalists, particularly in France, who say that they should not bring any male migrants or refugees into the country. They should only bring the women. That way they can marry white men and learn what it is to be civilized, what a racist garbage, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, think about this position that radical feminists are taking, and this is a terribly reactionary position. So what are they really saying by that? We should only take in female refugees. Well, what do you think is going to happen? So all these black and brown women are going to come into the first world, and they're going to what? They're not going to be hired. I mean, employment rates among women are already lower to begin with, and not to mention the fact that they're coming in with children. So they're already stuck in a position where they have to be taking care of children as opposed to working. So what's going to happen? A ton of them are going to end up on the streets as really cheap prostitutes. They're going to become prostituted women. That's not a good thing, because they're not going to find employment anywhere else. Not only the discrimination against them for being women, but the discrimination against them for being refugees. So how is that good for them? And if they're not going to end up as prostitutes, they're going to end up in unfair relationships where a male holds an incredible amount of power, where they have to just submit to it because they have no way to take care of their children. They have no way to pay for them or even to take care of themselves in that regard. So this is basically throwing women right directly into a disadvantaged position of almost slavery. So where do they get off saying this? And even then, most of the men that are coming into countries as refugees are going in by themselves, which is true, by the way. Those numbers are true, that most of the refugees are men. They're men going in, looking for work, and sending money back to their families to support them. So what are you going to do? You're just going to cut off all men from coming into the country so there's no money to send back to their families? So what, they end up in prostitution or a terrible abusive relationship in their own country? I mean, come on, that's not good for women. That's not good for anybody. Now, think of it like this. When you really ask them, why do you not want the refugee men coming into the country? Oh, because Cologne in Germany. So they're making the automatic assumption that all men are going to rape all women all the time, which is completely false. Not only that, it's incredibly racist. Just assume that all refugee men are racist. By that they mean men of color are all rapists all the time. They go, well, they throw acid in women's faces and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a thing that occurs in the third world. Correct. So now you're saying that all men who come into the country are going to throw acid in women's faces? That's some white nationalist bullshit. That's straight up fucking racism. And this is something the feminists are pushing. Some liberal feminists are pushing it, and a lot of radical feminists are pushing it. This is why I take a proletarian feminist position, and not even the general one that's taken. I take a third worldist approach, obviously being a third worldist. But what does this really mean? I mean, even some first worldists are saying this. We should just ban the men from coming in, what have you. A very small amount of them, not very many. But what is this really? What is this feminism pushing? It's pushing first worldism. We want all the benefits of people coming in, because they're defending if they believe that all men are rapists, then by preventing men from coming in, leaving more people to live in poverty just for the sake of their own perception of their own safety. That's first worldism right on. They're defending their own first world interests at the expense of third world people. That's straight up what it is right there. It's first worldism. And that's not right. These people deserve a chance to live a happy, normal, productive life as much as anybody can under capitalism, as much as anybody else. And their discrimination, which is racist, which is horribly bigoted and perfectly in line with the white nationalist ideal of not letting men of color into the country as refugees, it's right there in front of us. And this is one of those times they talk about intersectionalism. Yeah, as a communist, I tend to use contradiction, our own actual theory, which is a lot better than the liberal garbage that is intersectionalism. This is it. This is feminists defending their first world privilege. This is first worldist feminists defending their privilege. And that's something that really has no place in Marxism. It's just another first worldist position. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.